Okay. So this is the intro to the second month budgeting. And it is already at the end of the month. I have had so many videos that I have needed to publish and go up, and so much family here. Okay, so it's already the end of the month. This month, we're gonna have a chit chat before I go into how I budgeted, which will be the second half of this video. Because at this point, let's have a not only how I budgeted, but how I ended up doing at the end of 2 months. I showed you the first month, and I kind of talked about it in the second clip that was filmed at the beginning of this month, and where I am today. So I have my October spending here. I have the numbers on another sheet. And it wasn't that great, guys. I did not do well at all. I went way over budget. And it was a very hard pill to swallow. First of all, with my $400 and even purchasing ahead, I noticed that a lot of times, especially my dinners, wasn't enough to feed 4 people, and so I was kind of scrambling to put other stuff together, things that I had planned I didn't get to use because I was like, there's actually not enough here. We're eating much more than I thought. Barely any leftovers. Kind of coming up with stuff for my husband to take to work. Yeah, so that is actually really good for me to know for later on. Trying to get an idea of what realistically happened, plan accordingly. Later on in the video, I'll talk about how October is always our expensive month. Either something breaks or something wasn't planned as well as it should have been, which was the case this year. And that's the biggest reason that I make these videos. Because, again, I did this years ago. I think I was pregnant with number 4. She turned 7. So I did this 7 years ago, living like this, with 4 kids, and paid off our mortgage. So I know that it's done, but a lot of the behind the scenes, like you hear those numbers, you hear what we lived off, you hear what I did, but you don't see a lot of the things that come up. And as my kids get older, I'm noticing that there's just things that happen and come up even more frequently. And so, it's been really good for me, and I hopefully for you, it's hopefully encouraging to you to see those behind the scenes, to realize it's not just me or just you. There's things that always come up, and I'm trying to think of how I want to do this next portion of it. Because if I was not relying on what my husband had done during the summer, we would be in credit card debt. And so I'm actually looking at it like that. I'm pulling out money, but I'm going to use it as a payback. And the reason I'm doing this is there was a year when we had credit card debt. My husband had astronomical medical expenses, and I went in, I think it was like $200 that we just couldn't pay for. And it was on the credit card. And I was like, you know what, whatever. And then it was in October. Wow, I never put that together. And the reason I know it was October was because then Thanksgiving happened, then Christmas happened, and at that point I realized I'm already in debt. So what the heck? Might as well just do what we want to do. I didn't go extravagant. I didn't go everything. But at that point, I didn't try to just make all those little things work. And you know what? January happened. I got extra work. I had Christmas money. I had everything, and we were able to pay off the credit card debt. So I was in debt for 2 months. And I think the grand total was like $1,200. So compared to what a lot of people deal with, it wasn't that much. But it was significant in that I was learning, you know, once you hit those, what do they call them? Interest. Once you hit those interests and then you see that number, you're like, I am never going to pay this off. Once you hit that, it's like, wow, this is significant. This is very significant. And it's very hard So that, I just remember feeling so defeated after seeing how the interest builds up and how quickly it builds up. I'm distracted. Now I gotta remember what I was gonna say. This is gonna be such a long video. Okay, so what I'm gonna be trying to do is build up this next month. I'm gonna be trying to build up from scratch an emergency fund. And the reason I'm doing that is for moments like this, we have an emergency fund. We actually have a very good emergency fund, kind of what Dave Ramsey says. But I want to talk about that for just a little bit. I want to talk about it because, number one, we're a family of 7. $1,000 in your savings account for emergency funds is not enough. Do 2,000. I always say if you are a family of 6 to 10, do 2,000. If you are a 10 plus, do 3,000. Okay, I really, really strongly recommend that. I have single siblings that do emergency funds, and they have tried to do like 500, and each time it's usually been between 1,000 and 1,500 just for single people. Like, life is expensive, so please take it from me. 3,000 is even better. But I'm actually going to focus on building up my emergency fund with $1,000. And this way I can show you different ways that I will use it. Obviously, it's going to be really difficult because we do rely on this income that I'm bringing in to help feed and take care of the family. So it will be very interesting to see what I can do. The spending this month, I don't have an exact number for you. I will try to get that when I put up my November budget for you. But with family here, we ate out, and there's probably $250, $300 just in eating out. There was a couple of Walmart hauls. Again, my mom is here. I'm not blaming my family. No. Let me actually put this first. My family came and they were well prepared to pay whatever they wanted to do. I'm just like, I am the host. I am hosting you. I am not okay with that. Now, I didn't do everything I wanted to do. I made sure that I had enough certain things here that they could eat and use and enjoy. And if they wanted anything more than that, they did. So I know every day I was like, I have coffee here. If you guys want coffee, I'll make you coffee. And I know a lot of times they just went to the coffee place and purchased their own. Totally fine, but it was here if they wanted me to make it. And then if I decided, you know what, I want to go out for coffee, then I would treat them. So there were some things like that. I had wanted to make a big breakfast for my one sister who left here on her birthday. She flew home on her birthday, and the night before I had really wanted to make her all of her favorite foods that I had made kind of growing up. So like cauliflower bake, which is twice baked potatoes, but with cauliflower. It's a favorite here. I make it every football, what is that big football game thing called? I don't remember. But I make that. They love it. I was going to make different Chinese food favorites that they all loved. Anyway, all of that to say, it did not happen. And I ended up getting called on respite care that whole weekend, which meant I was at the client's home and didn't have all my ingredients here. So we ordered pizza. We ordered Pizza Hut for everyone, and that was a significant part. When my mom was here, the thing that we always do is Subway. We get a Subway chopped salad. It's so good. And I paid for that because that's just, hey mom, I want to do this. You bought pizza the night before. We kind of celebrated a kid's birthday. I'm going to buy the salads that we did here. So things like that. I bought extra groceries. I already talked about that. One of the things also that we do is I try to take everybody out for breakfast before they leave at a local diner. It's just kind of been a tradition. So I think both times.
That's a heart. What is it?
I don't remember, but I have a thinking. Careful, Johnny. Both times that I took them out, I think somebody else grabbed the ticket, so that didn't quite work. But when I went down to pick up my sister from the airport, she got in at 2. We had to leave my town right after I finished babysitting at,
sit here.
okay, we gotta be quiet though. Okay, I'm filming, so we gotta be quiet. I had to leave here right after I finished babysitting, and so at 11:30, 11:45, we were out of here. I was like, here, kids, here's some granola bars, here's some applesauce pouches that you saw in that video. Eat it, and then when I pick up my sister, who's been on a flight for 8 hours, we're gonna go out to eat, and we got Chick-fil-A, and that was like $50, I think. Never really ate at Chick-fil-A, so that was kind of an experience. Y'all, In-N-Out Burger is so much better. Y'all are missing something. Pizza Hut, I already said that. When another sister left, we couldn't make it to the diner here. Again, I was babysitting, so we found another diner on the way to the airport that still had some significance to us, and we ate out there. I was able to grab the ticket for that. There was another, anyway, like I said, all the eating out took out, you know, between $200 and $300, and that wasn't something I was prepared for, but I don't regret it. And again, if I didn't have money in our checking account, this would have put us in the negative for credit card debt. And so, again, we did some at Walmart. When my mom was here, we went to the bookstore, and I totally spent more money than I should have or realized. All that to say, there was just money spent spur of the moment. I can do stuff like this, but I'm not very good with money. I'm a big spender, and this is why I'm showing this, is to kind of show, yes, people with small budgets and big spenders, like, we have to get this under control. We have to do what is right for our families. And so this is why we're kind of stepping in and taking charge. I will admit, the last 2 months and putting things down on paper and really seeing have moved me to tears, just at how quickly I don't think things through long term, or how small I think that they are. And again, just the kind of things that I don't think. I have a personality that is very, I want you to feel at home. I want you to feel welcome. I don't want you to worry about anything while you're here with my siblings. And so I tend to do a lot of things that later on it's like, oh, budget-wise, this probably wasn't the best decision I made. That's fine. This is things that I'm learning. What's nice is they don't put that pressure on me. It might have been easier if they did, because then I have a sinful reaction to be like, oh, that's what you think, you can take care of it yourself then. That entitlement mentality I really hate, and so I'll actually turn off my like hospitality giving mode. I'll just turn it off and be like, okay, you deal with it yourself. Anyway, all this to say, so did not do well at all, exclamation point. I would say give yourself grace, because that's kind of a main discussion I have with a lot of people. But I'm going to tell myself this, because this is the kind of discussions that I do have with people that have come to me for finances. Like, you don't have that kind of money to spend. Like, you've just written it all out. You've just done all of this. And if something happens to your family, your husband loses your job, you lose jobs, you lose income, those habits will start to really multiply and decrease, so you have to break that habit. And obviously, if it's just counting on myself, if it was just me and my family, it's easier to follow this budget. But when it's not, when I'm trying to be the hostess, when I'm trying to do all these things, I tend to not do as well. And that's something I knew, and thankfully I didn't go as bad as normally I would have. Just disappointed, but it's time to pick up those bootstraps and continue on, and just realize that, okay, we'll do better. Okay, we'll do better. Okay, we'll do better. And then realizing what I have done, kind of preparing ahead for when other company comes in. So Christmas is coming. That's something I would like to actually kind of discuss into another video, like how are we going to do Christmas. I'm trying to think of different video topics that I should be making, so leave them down below. I have not been faithful in my homeschooling content, and a lot of that is simply because we've been doing the 3 R's, really: reading, writing, arithmetic, and just enjoying family time, enjoying being helpful to those in our community. And I want to end on this note. My siblings and I are competitive, and so they would often try to take the bill and whatnot and help us out. They know our situation. But again, that competitiveness, I had to do it, kind of this thing. But also, I know that they are single. They don't make a lot of money. They don't have like really good jobs that lets them take time off of work, use their vacation time, spend money to come out here. Thankfully, it's been a little bit cheaper just because of COVID, so things are a little cheaper, but you still have to rent a car. They still had an Airbnb to book. They still have time off of work. They still had food that they were purchasing. All of these things still plays a part in their finances as well, and I don't think that they should have the whole burden on them. So this is where I was coming from. Okay, so I kind of chatted. I don't know how much of that I'll try to cut out. It kind of went all over the place, especially with interruptions and all that. So I need from you down below, are these things helpful? Does conversations like this, are they also helpful? What content would be helpful? And then the other things that I have done in the series is I showed you how I budget, and I kind of went through that again, showing a second month in, and God's blessings. I showed how I can bring income in. I've showed how we grocery shop and all of that. I know somebody asked me for a pantry video, which isn't going to be much to show you. I don't actually have a pantry. All I do. It's more like a closet. Like a really narrow closet that we kind of want to gut and remake something else out of. But other than that, what else is helpful? If I've forgotten anything, I will try to leave it down below. Guys, remember, last month we worked this budget out. And we had a total income here. We had all of our payments here. And this was from my, again, that whole video will be linked above for you, okay? I just kind of want to point out a couple of things, and I did my red pen for this. Okay, first of all, for gasoline, instead of 180, we only ended up using 140. So that was really great. And then, so I put that money into here, and we had $4.64 for groceries. And then over here, over on this side, I put all the money that I had made this month. So I kind of want to go up here, and this is the amount outside of these bills that we ended up spending. I have all the receipts saved, and I calculated. Well, then we actually had this amount. I found another stack of receipts that I had in a separate place. So these two totals together come to, that's what we actually spent. What we had budgeted was $4.64. That's how much we went over our budget. So what that included was my kid needed some glasses. That was a purchase we weren't expecting. So that was about $60 when it was all said and done. We had a $100 purchase. I'm going to call it a medical purchase. What it was some essential oils. So there can be a debate on whether we needed it or not. Now, I do use essential oils. I feel like I'm trying to justify the fact that I'm using essential oils. The fact of the matter is, we're just trying them to see if they help with some things. So we have these two amounts that I had not
planned on. I did 2 $100 grocery hauls. And with that, actually it was one. But anyway, one you're going to see and one you're not going to see. One, somebody had sent us some money, and so I took that money and I went and I invested in this month's budget to kind of help with that. So now we're at $360 in food. So we had 100, and then I had another $100 purchase. There was things that we really needed. We needed a trash can. Our trash can busted. So I picked up some trash cans. I picked up some stuff for the yard. I picked up some things that we needed, like some spray paint. And I had a kid that needed some socks, and so we picked up some socks. We did all those kinds of things. So that brought us up to that amount. Miscellaneous was $130.95. Some of these were things like Dollar General, other purchases that we made through Amazon. There were some gifts that we bought. Anyway, all of that other random purchase came up to $130.95. So you might be thinking, well, Shalise, you only had this amount in your budget. Where did that extra 400, whatever, where did you get all this? So this amount also includes this amount. So that's why we subtracted that, okay? So Shalise, what happened here? Like, where did this money come from? How do you just pull money out of thin air? In the other video, I talked about how my husband worked extra hours this summer. And just because he worked extra hours doesn't mean we used all that money. And so all of that kept going into our checking account. Now, I had really wanted to just keep strictly to this so that I could show you how to do it. If we didn't have the money to do this, it would have been a problem, right? Like, we would have gone into debt, basically. But because we had kind of foreseen this, we did have the money there. I could have done things a little differently. I chose not to do things a little differently. And yeah, hindsight, I was kind of surprised. It did take me by surprise. I did not expect that. I wasn't reining it in, so it was really good for me to kind of see where money was going, how things were going that I wasn't really preparing myself for. So thankfully, we didn't go into debt. I know that if this was any different, some people were, and that was very eye-opening for me. Insofar as our groceries, it was really hard to stick to the $100 a week. I did do a video showing how we did that, but that was only 1 week filmed. That was the second or third week into the month. And yeah, it was interesting. Actually, that week turned out really, really good. Anyway, all of that to say, again, I had really wanted to show accurate information, but the reality is that this just came out of our checking. If I had a savings, I could have pulled it from there. Not everybody has it. I understand. I'm sorry. I wanted it to be as authentic and kind of show it. Well, I am being authentic, but I kind of wanted to show how you could do it step by step, but it didn't work out. But the reason I'm doing this is so that we kind of learn together, right? So we are here at a new month, and we are going to start afresh. Remember, I had said that we were going to make less this month, right? Because my husband, our paychecks was going to be less, blah, 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 so on and so forth. Well, another thing that I was doing was I was keeping track of my husband's paychecks and what he brought home. The last 2 weeks, of course, were more accurate as to what I assumed, but look at these numbers. They're almost sometimes over $100 more, or $100 or more of what we calculated. So one time he works Saturday. He has to work the third Saturday of every month, and then the next week he ended up working a Saturday because we assumed that because it was Labor Day, that, you know, he wasn't going to get paid, but they get what is called a holiday pay. So they actually get paid regardless of them being there or not. So we ended up with a little extra money. And also, please notice there are 5 paychecks here because there was 5 paychecks this month. This actually should be 10. So if you notice, this says 10/5. Well, because this paycheck here in September, let me pull out my calendar and show you what I mean. You're going to have to get some information here that's just not pertinent, but oh well. So the first started a Tuesday, so he would have worked here through here, here through here, here through here, 3 weeks, 4 weeks, and 5 weeks. So we have what I call 5 paychecks. Then in October, again, we already used this, so this will be our first paycheck at the end of here. 2, 3, 4 paychecks, but there's 5 here. Okay, so that's how that worked out for this. That's how I work things out. And normally I could push, depending on how the week was, I could push this up into October. I'm not going to, and here's why. Every October, without fail, we have some huge expense. It's happened every year. I'm convinced next year our car is going to die. So I always, if I can, try, again, I'm trying to budget ahead. I'm trying to prepare for something that's going to happen. So I put this here. So let's total all these numbers up. Okay, so now I'm going to start October's budget, and I'm going to put that number here. I like to round to the nearest whole dollar. It makes life so much easier. Okay, so there's that. Now, I told you in last month's video how I take this and, you know, put my husband's total up here on this month's thing. We have these little indications here. So there's a D, there's a C. This is where my income's going to go. And I've been keeping track of that too. The only thing that I don't have right now is a check for the kid that I typically send schoolwork to. And that one's usually, that's this one right here. This is not here right now, but it should be here any day, and it's for this thing. But remember, I told you I do not count on that check. So if something has happened, I do not count on it. So I'm not going to put it down for this. Actually, I just checked my account, and I have this. So here we go. $121 for making YouTube videos for the past 6 months. $60 for babysitting. This covered 2 weeks. She had forgotten to pay me 1 week. I was given $210 for meal prepping, and I kind of talked about that in ways to make money video. So $210. It was $7 per day for 30 days, and that was $210. I took all but $60 of it and put it directly into the food budget for this month, and that's one way how we paid for this amount, these amounts, okay? All right, I just took 60 of that 210 and put it into the earning category. So the other 150 I put into the food. All right, and then this is the one that he isn't here. This check isn't here, so I'm not calculating that. We have another babysitting check. I earned $8.84 off of Amazon this month for all of those affiliate links I put down in the description box. I earned $45 again for babysitting, and I earned $10. Oh, I had 3 days this week. That's why I was like, why is that more than 30? I babysat them 3 days that week. And then I have a $10 affiliate cash for recommending Tuttle Twin books. So that total cost altogether was $325.64. So let's go over here, and we're going to add this. $325, $326, because I told you, I like to round to the nearest. I know, we're supposed to budget down to the penny. No, let's budget down to the realistic thing. Those pennies can just collect in checking. Those always work. Okay, so now what did I say that we need to do? Let's bring these total amounts together because this is what we need to budget. We need to budget 1988 and 326. So our total combined in money is pretty high this month. God is good. And this needs to cover us for 5 weeks for the month of September. I'm sorry, it has 5 paychecks, and it'll get us through October, which has 5 weeks in it before I can do my budget. Okay? All right, so now our first category. $231.40 for tithing. Let me see how many Sundays we have in October. Let's see. Okay, in October we have 1, 2, 3, 4. We're going to need to put 5 Sundays down, because I'm not going to be able to get to the bank that Monday. Let's see. So we'll have paycheck 1, paycheck 2, paycheck 3, and paycheck 4. Okay, so let me explain why I did it that way. So October, Dave, my husband works this whole week. We'll get paycheck 1 here, okay? Paycheck 1. This week we'll get paycheck 2. This week paycheck 3, but wait a minute. Now we need to go to November. Here's our next Sunday, and this is where I can make my budget again. So I'm going to have 5 Sundays that I need to budget for. That's how I come up with that. It's actually $46.40, but we're going to go and say it is $46.50. I like my even numbers. That's where all those pennies go into. Okay, next one. Again, these don't necessarily change. This is actually higher this month, so let me check that out. 128.80. So here was a comparison. 126.12, 128.80. All right. Let's see what we have. Electricity. 152. That's right. So electricity should have been down. Okay. Comparison. Electricity was 123.76, 152.22. And so we're actually going to start looking and seeing if buying pay-as-you-go through Walmart is going to be cheaper. If you guys know anything, please let me know, because I'm hearing mixed reviews, especially because of where we are. We're kind of out in the suburbs, and we're a very small town, and so we're about 20 minutes from the nearest place. If I go 5 miles in the other direction, I have 0 cell service, even with Verizon. So I'm a little nervous, especially because I do work online. So I'm interested in your thoughts on that. Okay. Our Verizon is My husband can't remember the details, but anyway, we can't remember the coin amount. So that's what we're going to say. So let me calculate all these together. Alright, then I need to, I'm actually going to put this below next this time. So let's talk about things we have going on. I'm going to put this amount in, even though we didn't use it, because I'd rather have extra that I can move over than not at all. Okay, I'm going to pause here. I'm going to pause the video. I'm going to actually go and write these down that I get from my sister below here, and then I'll be right back. I'd need to sit down for a minute. Okay, I have one thing blocked off because I don't really want to share that. That's just something that I have for me and my family. But this is what I talked about last month. My sister gives me a budget, and it's to do stuff with the kids. And this is, I wrote everything down. So we have Amazon Prime and we have Audible. And so I made sure that I put all that in because I did not do that last time. I knew it worked within the budget she gave me. And so I just didn't write it down. But this way I am keeping track of what's coming out of my credit card. Okay, so now this is all taken care of, and I'm just going to kind of cover that up. Mainly because I don't want the paper to slip and have to do some editing and all that kind of stuff. So again, this does not come out of our bank account, but if you have stuff like this, you're going to want to write it down. Things like maybe you sponsor a child, make sure that you're writing that down. If you have membership fees that you're paying every month, you need to write that down. All those kinds of things. Please, please get those written down. Okay, so as of right now, like honestly, I'm just blown away again by how, you know, I messed up this month, and I didn't do as well as I was hoping or expecting, even with just really trying to, let me see if I can get out, really trying to do better and be stronger and really just hone in on working well. And so, again, this number, let me pull that number up again. So there again is that number that I went over, but, let's take out that $200 that was gifted to us. Also, that $150 from the groceries that I used, and so I typically actually went over $140.95. And again, some of that was the essential oils and the glasses. So, oops, let me just, okay, the glasses and those essential oils, which came out to $160. So in a way, I was still under that $200, or I was still under by $20, but I wasn't. So if I didn't have the money in the account, do you understand why I'm showing this? Does it make sense why I really wanted to illustrate this? If I just look at this and I just look at this, it's really disheartening. I'll be honest, like I saw that and I just wanted to cry. I'm like, what? I felt like I was doing so good. But again, once you take out the fact that somebody had blessed us with $200, I did not get every single week. I did not get it at $100. And then all these little things. So anyway, all that to say, this is why kind of keeping this budget and keeping accountable is so important. And then I end up making more than I was expecting to make, and I still will have $225 when that check gets here. Okay, so let's go back over here. So right now in our finances, we're doing really good. We have right now all of these totals together
Is it? Nope, it's right there. All of these totals together equal,
okay, let's see if we can get closer and see that. That's right now where we're at. Isn't it incredible how God works? Again, we had expected 4 weeks, 4 weeks with this number. Instead, we have 5 weeks with 3 of them being these numbers. Now, again, in October, I really do expect those numbers, the 330 and the 336, and 1 week of 425, because every 3rd week he has to work a Saturday. So let's kind of average these two numbers, 330 and 336. So let's do 333. That is my assumption. Around that amount is what we're going to make in October. I'm going to write that up here because I need to make sure that I'm preparing for this. You know, she looks well to the ways of her household and is going to prepare for this. Okay? Christmas is coming up. Please don't think because you have extra money that you can go blow extra money. Okay. All right. Now, I haven't addressed the groceries yet. The reason I have not addressed the groceries yet is because I have done a grocery haul, and that should be out by now. And we spent about $400. And I try to do a whole month at a time. Okay, that leaves me with $1,000 left at this point. But tonight we went to Walmart and we spent $88. Now, here's what I'm doing differently this month. We'll let you get a little peek of this. October spending. Okay. So I'm keeping track of everything that I'm spending in October. I try to do this. Look at that. I tried to do this multiple times. You have to really be diligent and be on top of it. So we'll see how well that goes and trying to keep track on top of everything. But there we go. So I have $1,424 and I'm going to put $600 into groceries. It's more than I need. Remember, I have already done my once a month grocery haul, which was about $400. Tonight we spent about another $100. We went for a few things, a big bulk of that, like $25. So a quarter of that was buying thermos for our fridge and freezers because we need to keep track of that. And so a quarter of that went for things like that. And then just a few other things. So, and then while I was there, I spent another about quarter to half of it stocking up on meat that was on sale. And so I'm going to put that into the freezer so that I have, again, a help for the future. Okay. And so this is why I'm doing things like this. Okay. So I'm going to put down $600. As of right now, let me just take this out. Let me take these numbers out. As of right now, that's how much we have left. I could put in stuff for like clothes and all the other things that could come in. And maybe at some point we'll kind of need something like that. But as of right now, I'm not going to. I'm going to ignore that number totally and completely. And we're just going to put it into this amount. I'm going to put that number down over here. Okay, just going to do that. If we need to pull from it, we can. But I'm going to pretend it doesn't exist. I like to do things like that. I like to pretend it doesn't exist because if something comes up, the money is there. I'm not freaking out. If I start allotting it to things, I know me and I'll use it because it's like, oh, the money is there. So let's do this now because the money is there. But then something comes up and something hits really hard. That's how life works, y'all. Next month is going to be hard. And so I want to be prepared for that. I have family coming here in a few days, and something always comes up. At one point, we will take everybody out for breakfast. That's just a tradition that we're starting over here. We just take people out for breakfast one day while they're here. I'm sure we'll have need to dip that in for more, driving time and things like that. I want to take my one sister out who's going to be here not only for my daughter's birthday, but she'll be here for her birthday. And I'm like, we need to go get drinks. That's kind of our thing. We haven't done this in a while. So I want a little cushion there, but I'm going to pretend it's not there so that I'm working at not spending what we don't have. Okay? This number, we're going to make almost $1,000 less next month just from my husband's paycheck. Okay? Over here, we only bring in $326 for me. If I add these numbers together, we're just barely going to make it next month. This is why I need to ignore this. Okay? Alright, so that's going to be it for this this section. And again, please check out that other video. If I have any other notes, I'll make it after. You'll see my face. I'm making this late at night, so I'm not filming me right now. But anyway, if you guys have questions, please leave them down and below, and I will try to address them in a video here shortly. I just remembered something else that I was like, oh yeah, I needed to remember to mention that. And I'm going to put it in here because I really need to remember this. My husband is actually going to be at a pastor's conference. Let's see, make sure. In a pastor's conference in November, and will be out of work for at least 3 days. Now, he is thinking of trying to make up for that, but honestly, both of us realizes that just with the amount of work that he has to do here and now, and trying to keep up with his school studies, he's already pretty spread thin. So I'm not going to assume that. So I think we're going to be minus 3 days work. That's where this number is going to help.
Thank you so much for watching this video. Give it a thumbs up if it's been helpful content to you. If you're new to my channel, I encourage you to subscribe, mainly so that I can help the specific questions that you might have. A couple other things I just remember. A couple other things people have said is, this is very helpful for larger families, but what about smaller families? Unfortunately, I can't do that anymore. There's several bloggers out there that are helpful for the smaller families. I can just share what has helped our family. I am not licensed in anything. I'm not a businesswoman in anything. I'm just a homemaker mom doing what she can for her family. And I have shown you income totals, which have been so much more than I realized. But November's coming, and I'm looking at what income was brought in this month. And November will be interesting. I think it'll be more accurate to what I was assuming was going to be. So we'll see how we go from here. All right. Thank you for watching. Neighbors are coming out. I'm going in. Bye.